Hi guys, and welcome to a Game of Thrones overview by George R.R. Martin. We left off with Sansa learning the truth about the Hound's past, and now we are on to chapter 30, Ned. So let's get straight into it. It's the day of the tournament, and Sir Hugh, a witness that Lord Peter Baelish said had information on Jon Arryn, has died at the hands of a Lannister. Ned cannot help but wonder if that's not a coincidence. Sir Barristan and Ned are talking about how the King Robert wants to fight in the tourney today, but both Barristan and Ned thinks that it's a bad idea. As they enter Ned's tent, Ned sees Robert's huge war hammer from his glory days, confirming that Robert plans to fight. We learn that the squires working for Robert are actually cousins of the Lannisters, confirming to Ned that they have their hand in every pot, including looking after the king. Starts yelling at the squires to go grab him a breastplate because his armor does not fit. After they leave, Robert starts shaking with laughter, sending the boys on a wild goose chase. I added this in because there are these times where I can't help but like Robert, and I think that other people like him because he can be somewhat charismatic at times. I guess that's why these books are so immersive, because even though you know someone is a cheater, or a liar, or they're scheming, there are these moments of joy and laughter, or these moments of sarcasm and intelligence that are so entertaining to read, you find yourself wanting more of that character. King Robert goes on about how Queen Cersei is trying to keep him from fighting, how he believes Ned's sister Lyanna would have never done that. Ned reminds him, "You never knew her. You never knew her as I did, Robert. You saw the beauty, but not the iron underneath." Sir Barristan explains to Robert it wouldn't be a fair fight, that everyone competing would never truly hurt their king, and his victory would not be true. Robert agrees not to fight. Robert yells for Sir Barristan to leave and wants to speak to Ned alone. He confesses Jon Arryn and Ned should have been kings, and that he knows he is not a great ruler, and that he has been a failure in this. Ned doesn't argue with Rob. He knows that their close old friend agrees. He is no great king. We learn that Robert wanted to marry Lyanna Stark, wanted her as queen, but when she passed away, Jon Arryn was the one who pushed for him to marry Cersei Lannister. He admits, yes, she was beautiful, breathtaking, but it could not cover up the coldness within her. Robert pours a drink and finally admits he is genuinely sorry for his choice to kill Sansa's direwolf lady. That he knows Joffrey was lying. He has no proof, but he would stake his soul on it. He admits that he has no idea how Joffrey has grown up the way he has, how he could have spawned something so cowardly and cruel. Ned asks if it's just because Joffrey is just a young lad, but Robert says, "You don't know him as I do." We learn that Robert has wanted to leave for the free cities and vanish years ago, but it was only the fear of his son and his mother sitting the Iron Throne and the horrors that would come from it stops him from doing so. During breakfast, Ned and Robert laugh. They rehash old memories, truly talked, and Ned felt confident that after he found proof that King Robert's justice could be paid and the Lannisters would be thrown out on their asses. As Ned arrives to the tourney, he sees Sansa, the king, and Littlefinger. Littlefinger places a bet for 100 gold dragons on Jaime Lannister, or as he's known as the Kingslayer. Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer, was decked out in gold. Even his horse was covered in gold, truly showing the Lannister wealth. Lord Renly takes Lord Peter Baelish up on his bet and bets the Hound will win, saying, "The Hound has a hungry look about him this morning." Which Peter replies, "Even hungry dogs know better than to bite the hand that feeds him," showing that the Hound is under Lannister influence heavily also. Lord Peter Baelish is winning the bet and says, "I wonder how I will spend your money," to Lord Renly. But this round, the Hound wins. You hear Sansa whisper, "I knew the Hound would win." Jaime's helmet ends up getting stuck on his head backwards, showing a dented and twisted lion. Gregor Clegane was up next. That is the Hound's brother. Said that Gregor is cruel, crashing the head of Rhaegar Targaryen's baby and then violating his mother before putting her to the sword. All these things were not mentioned in Sir Gregor's hearing. Ed didn't put much thought into gossip, but he felt like those rumors of Sir Gregor were true. He was engaged to be married for a third time also. Wicked rumors about what he had done to his first two wives spread also. Even his sister and his father all had very queer deaths in Ned's eye. Loras Tyrell enters the scene and Sansa says out loud, "Oh, he is so beautiful." Loras Tyrell's beautiful gray mare comes out. Sir Gregor's mount starts acting strange. Loras then does something with his feet that causes the horse to prance sideways. "Father, don't let Sir Gregor hurt him," Sansa says. Gregor's stallion starts screaming and pawing at the ground. The mountain kicks at the stallion savagely. The horse reared and almost throws him off as the jousting starts. Sir Loris goes in for the hit and the mountain starts to fall, but he is so big that when he falls, he takes the stallion with him. The common folks cheer for Tyrell. Mountain takes out his sword and beheads his mount in one swift strike. He starts striding for Loris. As he knocks Loris down from his horse, he goes to strike him, and the hound yells, "Leave him be!" And they start to fight with the mountain. Two brothers fighting against one another. King Robert uses the voice he learned to use in the Trident and yells, "Stop this madness in the name of your king!" The hound goes to one knee, bowing right before the mountain can hit him with another strike. The mountain throws his sword and slams away. Sansa asks Ned, "Is the hand the champion now?" Ned told her no, as Sir Loris and the hound still had to duel. But Sansa asked true, because then Sir Loris says, "I owe you my life, sir. The day is yours." The hound just replies, "I am no sir." Dinner that night was actually a lovely event. For the first time, Ned saw Sansa and Arya speak without any argument. He dined with Robert without the Lannisters. Arya even showed off her bruises to Sansa from her water dancing lessons. Later on, Ned inspected Arya's bruises, telling her that he hopes Syrio isn't being too hard on her. Arya replies, "Syrio says every hurt is a lesson, and every lesson makes you better." Ned starts to think about why Jon Arryn, knowing Gendry, Robert's bastard, would put his life in danger. We learn that King Robert has had other bastards, one's being fostered in Storm's End right now, and he has more scattered throughout the kingdom. So why did Gendry matter? Learn about Robert's first child. She was born in the Vale a long time ago. Robert himself was scarcely a boy when he had her, a sweet girl. Robert doted on her all the time. He used to make daily visits to her, long after he lost interest with her mother also. She would be 17 or 18 now, older than when Robert conceived her. It was a strange thought to Ned. A stranger enters Ned's room, dressed in a sack like a robe with a strange low voice.
"We must speak alone, Lord Stark."
Ned sends his guard away. The man reveals himself, and it is none other than Lord Varys. Ned was shocked because he had only seen Lord Varys in silks and velvets. Lord Varys confesses he dressed like this not to be noticed, and says, "I will not keep you long, my lord. There are things you must know. You are the king's hand, and the king is a fool. Your friend, I know, yet a fool nonetheless. And doomed, unless you save him. Today was a near thing. They hope to kill him during the melee."
"Who?"
"If I truly need to tell you that, you are a bigger fool than Robert. I am on the wrong side."
"The Lannisters? The Queen? No, I will not believe that. Not even Cersei. She asked him not to fight."
"She forbade him to fight. In front of his brothers, his knights, half a court. Tell me truly, do you know any surer way to force a king into the melee, I ask you?"
"Even if he fought, who would have dared to strike a king?"
"There were 40 riders in the melee. The Lannisters have many friends. Amidst all the chaos, with horses screaming, bones breaking, and Thoros of Myr waving that absurd fire sword of his, who could name it murder if some chance blow felled his grace? After the deed was done, the slayer would be beside himself with grief. I can hear him weeping now. So sad, yet no doubt the gracious and compassionate widow would take pity, lift the poor unfortunate to his feet, and bless him with a gentle kiss of forgiveness. Good King Joffrey would have no choice but to pardon him, or perhaps Cersei would let Sir Ilyn strike off his head, less risk for the Lannisters that way, though quite an unpleasant surprise for their little friend."
"You knew of this plot and did nothing?"
"I command whisperers, not warriors."
"You might have come to me earlier."
"Yes, I confess it, and you would have run straight to the king, yes? And when Robert heard of his peril, what would he have done, I wonder?"
"He would have damned them all and fought anyway, to show he did not fear them."
"I will make another confession, Lord Eddard. I was curious to see what you would do. Why not come to me, you ask? I must answer. Why? Because I did not trust you, my lord."
"You did not trust me?"
The Red Keep shelters two sorts of people, Lord Eddar, those who are loyal to the realm and those who are only loyal to themselves. Until this morning I could not say which you might be, so I waited to see, and now I know, for a certainty. I begin to comprehend why the Queen fears you so much. Oh, yes, I do.
You are the one she ought to fear.
No, I am what I am. The king makes use of me, but it shames him. Puissant warrior is our Robert, and such a manly man has little love for sneaks, spies, and eunuchs. If a day should come when he whispers, "Kill that man," ill and pain will snick off my head in a twinkling. And who will mourn poor Varys then? North or south, they sing no songs for spiders. But you, Lord Stark, I think. No, I know. He would not even kill you, not even for his queen. And there may lie our salvation.
Surely Robert has other loyal friends. His brothers, his
brothers? His wife? His brothers hate the Lannisters. True enough. But hating the queen and loving the king are not quite the same thing, are they? Sir Barristan loves his honor. Grand Maester Pycelle loves his office. And Littlefinger loves Littlefinger.
The King's Guard.
A paper shield. Try not to look so shocked, Lord Stark. Jaime Lannister is himself a sworn brother of the White Swords, and we all know what his oath is worth. The day when men like Ram Redwyn and Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight wore the White Cloak are long to dust and song. Only Sir Barristan Selmy is made of true steel, and Selmy is old. Sir Boros and Sir Mirren are the Queen's creatures to the bone, and I have a deep suspicion of others. No, my lord, when the swords come to play in earnest, you will be the only true friend to Robert.
Robert must be told. If what you say is true, even part of it true, the king must hear it for himself.
And what proof should we lay before him? My word against theirs? My little birds against the queen and the kingslayer, against his brother in council, against the wardens of east and west, against all the might of Casterly Rock. Pray, send for Sir Ellen directly. It shall save us time. I know where the road ends.
If what you say is true, they will only bide their time and make another attempt.
Indeed they will, and sooner rather than later, I do fear. You are making them anxious, Lord Eddar, but my little birds will be listening, and together we may be able to forestall them, you and I. Thank you for the wine. We will speak again when you see me at the next council. Be certain to treat me with the accustomed contempt. You should not find it difficult.
Berries. How did Jon Arryn die?
I wondered when you would get around to that.
Tell me.
The tears of Lys, they call it, a rare and costly thing, clear and sweet as water, and it leaves no trace. I begged Lord Arryn to use a tester, in this very room. I begged him. One who was less than a man would even think such a thing, he told me.
Who gave him the poison?
Dear sweet friend, who often shares meat and mead with him, no doubt. Oh, but which one? There were so many such. Lord Arryn was a kindly and trusting man. One boy, all he owed was to Jon Arryn. But when the widow fled to the Eyrie with her household, he stayed in King's Landing and prospered. It always gladdens my heart to see young rise in the world. He must have cut a gallant figure in the tourney. Him in his bright new armor, with those crescent moons on his cloak. A pity he died so untimely, before you could talk to him.
The squire, Sir Hugh? Why? Why now? Jon Arryn had been hand for 14 years. What was he doing that killed him?
Asking questions.